After suffering a serious fall that resulted in the loss of his memory, John, a young millionaire, found himself surrounded by people who claimed to be his loyal friends. However, these supposed friends took advantage of his vulnerability to hatch a plan and steal everything he owned. But what they didn't know was that John, even without memory, already had a meticulously planned plan. Within the imposing walls of the Thompson Mansion, located in the heart of Atlanta, lived John Thompson, a young millionaire of 32 years. An only child and heir to a colossal fortune left by his late father, John was known for his captivating personality, boundless generosity, and a charisma that seemed to charm everyone who crossed his path. John's life was full of luxury and privilege. He ran his own company, one of the most prosperous in the region, and had a dedicated team of employees under his command. In his prime, John enjoyed all the perks that wealth could offer. His luxurious mansion housed rare works of art, a collection of sports cars, and a team of staff always ready to fulfill his every wish. However, behind his successful facade, John carried an emotional burden. He was an only child, and his mother had died in childbirth. Because of this, he never celebrated his birthday, preferring to let the day pass by unnoticed. He was surrounded by people who claimed to be his friends, but whose only interest seemed to be his wealth. This lack of genuine connection bothered him deeply, and he longed for real, authentic relationships. Despite this, John maintained a busy social life. Friends and acquaintances frequented his mansion, treating him to extravagant parties and sophisticated events. But the true nature of these connections always remained questionable. John was never sure whether people were with him for his fortune or for his very essence. One sunny morning, as the wind gently blew through the trees on the property, John decided to take advantage of the day with a two-wheeled adventure. He donned his sports gear, laced up his cycling shoes, and gathered his friends for a ride through the picturesque hills surrounding the town. The group set off at a brisk pace. The bikes glided across the asphalt with dexterity and elegance. John was in his element, feeling the wind caress his face as he rode the winding roads. Joy and freedom enveloped him, as if life itself was dancing beneath his tires. However, fate had other plans in store for John. In a fleeting instant, as the wheels of his bicycle were spinning in perfect harmony, a small stone hidden in the asphalt triggered a chain of events that would change the young millionaire's life forever. The impact was sudden and overwhelming. John lost control of his bike, throwing him to the ground with force. The world spun in a blur as John lost consciousness. Hours passed before John finally opened his eyes, finding himself in a hospital bed. White lights and stereoscopic aromas invaded his senses, while distant voices whispered around him. The bright white of the hospital walls and the constant sound of machines seemed oblivious to his existence. John couldn't comprehend why he was there or who the people around him were. His memory seemed to have been wiped away, leaving only a blank void in his mind. The doctors explained that John had suffered a severe concussion and that his amnesia was a side effect. They reassured him that his memory might gradually return, but they could not guarantee how long it would take. The news shook John to the core of his existence. He found himself facing an unknown abyss, unable to reconnect with his own identity. Anguish and despair began to seep into his soul as he struggled to remember his name, who he was, and the people who had been a part of his life. As John struggled with the inner chaos, those who called themselves his friends tried to help him recover his lost memory. They clumsily tried to convey shared memories, stories from the past, and moments of intimacy that seemed strangely distant. But the words seemed to fly past John's ears, unable to find an anchor in his empty mind. Yet as the days turned into weeks, John found himself sinking deeper and deeper into an abyss of uncertainty. As the world around him continued to spin, John remained at the center of an emotional storm. The search for his lost identity was a lonely and frightening journey, but it was also a test of his resilience and inner strength. Some people began to distance themselves from him, afraid of the revelations his recovered memory might bring, while others took advantage of his vulnerability, pretending to be friends to further their own selfish goals. John struggled to find answers and reclaim his identity But unbeknownst to him, he was caught in a whirlwind of deception and manipulation. Memory loss became a breeding ground for the dishonest and unscrupulous, who seized the opportunity to betray him and usurp his empire. Among his closest friends was Mauricio Lamies, John's longtime confidant. Mauricio was a man with impeccable appearance and a captivating smile. His presence was always a comfort to John, a constant reminder of their shared wealth and the successes they had achieved together over the years. Their friendship was built on solid foundations, with Mauricio acting as John's right-hand man in the company and an unwavering support in his personal life. John trusted Mauricio completely. He believed that his friendship was a safe haven in a world full of petty interests. Mauricio was the one who always advised him when making difficult decisions, who shared his triumphs and consoled him in his defeats. Their bond was so deep that John considered Mauricio to be part of his own family. But all of that was about to fall apart. While John waited at home for his recovery and struggled to regain his lost memory, Mauricio plotted behind the scenes. The brightness of his smile hid a silent envy that gnawed at his heart. While John had it all easy, Maurice had to fight hard for every achievement. He saw John as the privileged one, the one whose life was a succession of ease, while he himself had to constantly strive to achieve what he wanted. Maurice's secret resentment grew with each passing day, and as John's amnesia persisted, Maurice saw an opportunity. He saw a chance to rise above the rest, to become not just John's right-hand man, but the true owner of the business empire John had inherited. The burning envy in his chest turned into unbridled ambition, and Mauricio decided the time was right to take complete control. Taking advantage of the closeness between the two, Mauricio began to infiltrate John's confused mind, whispering doubts and manipulative suggestions. He painted a picture of himself as a loyal friend, protecting John from the perils of the business world and taking increasing freedom in the company's decisions. Mauricio began to gather documents and strategize to take full control of the company that had previously belonged to John. He was willing to do anything to achieve the power and success he believed he deserved. But John was much smarter than Mauricio, and soon, a shocking revelation would leave Mauricio with his hands tied. As Mauricio meticulously planned his betrayal, moving every piece on the board, Maria, the beautiful and diligent secretary, watched closely. Her discerning eyes picked up on the subtle signs of Mauricio's manipulation, while her heart weighed heavy with unrequited passion. She had always hidden her love for John, knowing that their social positions and the dynamics of the company would never allow them to be together. Mauricio, in turn, was fully aware of Maria's feelings for John, as he always noticed the way she looked at him and how nervous she was around him. This tormented him, feeding an obsession within himself. He saw in Maria the personification of everything he desired, a combination of beauty, intelligence, and integrity. But despite his efforts, Mauricio was never able to win Maria's heart. This unrequited passion, combined with his envy of John, created a dangerous mix within Mauricio. He felt powerless over the connection Maria had with John, a connection he could never have. With each passing day, his obsession grew, fueled by frustration and the need to possess what John had, not only the business empire, but also Maria's love. Maria had been carefully observing Mauricio's movements over the past few days, becoming increasingly suspicious of his intentions. She knew she needed to approach him subtly to find out what he was up to. That was when Mauricio, thinking he was in control of the situation, asked her out. Accepting the invitation, Maria met Mauricio that night at an elegant bar in the city. The atmosphere was filled with laughter and lively conversation as the two sat in a discreet corner. Maria wore a friendly expression, disguising her true motivation behind that meeting. As the drinks arrived at the table, Mauricio seemed more relaxed than usual. Maria realized that alcohol could become an ally in her plan of discovery. She smiled and joined in the conversation, allowing Mauricio to feel comfortable opening up. As the night wore on and the drinks piled up, Mauricio began to loosen up more and more. His gaze held a deceptive confidence, revealing a dark side he usually kept hidden. Amidst laughter and exaggerated gestures, Mauricio confessed his intentions to cheat. He revealed in detail his meticulous plan to deceive John and take control of the company. Maria's face was filled with surprise, as she tried to hide the repulsion she felt for Mauricio. Pretending to agree, Maria discreetly activated the voice recorder on her cell phone and encouraged Mauricio to tell her more, using each word as concrete proof of his betrayal. Her heart was beating fast, knowing the gravity of the situation and the real battle that was about to begin. While Mauricio was basking in his self-proclaimed victory, Maria remained calm and focused. She took advantage of every moment to extract valuable information that would be essential to protecting John. It was a dangerous game, where Maria's every word and reaction needed to be calculated with precision. Maria studied every facial expression, every sign of trust he placed in her. She knew that any slip-up could ruin everything. Therefore, even though her heart was filled with contempt for Mauricio, she maintained a friendly and seductive appearance. As Maria listened to those treacherous words, she struggled to remain calm. Her heart was beating rapidly, but she kept her gaze firmly on Mauricio, hiding the whirlwind of emotions that overcame her. She said, forcing a cynical smile. Mauricio laughed with an air of superiority, as if he were the puppet master controlling every move. He trusts me blindly, believing that I am his loyal friend. But tomorrow, when he signs that document, it will all be mine. And John, well, he will be just a shadow of his former self. And you, my darling, will have your new position secured as well. Just stay by my side, and I'll give you everything you need. The night reached its peak, with Mauricio diving deeper and deeper into his own trap. The drunkenness weighed on his words, and his guard lowered with every moment. Maria realized that it was the right time to leave, before Mauricio could suspect her true intentions. She said goodbye with a fake smile and left, leaving Mauricio to his own drunkenness and misplaced confidence. Anger and determination mixed within her, driving her to move forward with her plan to protect John. Now, with the evidence in hand, she had the weapons she needed to expose the betrayal and ensure justice. Maria woke up early the next day, knowing that she had an important role to play. She knew that time was running out, and that Mauricio would bring the documents to John to sign during the afternoon. With the evidence in hand that could help John unmask Mauricio, she quickly headed to his house. The servants were surprised by Maria's sudden and early morning visit, who briefly explained the situation and asked to see John. John had just gotten up and was sitting at the table having his breakfast when Maria arrived. Their eyes met, and an electric current seemed to run through the air between them. She was nervous, but determined to carry out her mission. With hurried words, Maria explained Mauricio's entire plan and showed John the compromising audio that incriminated his supposed friend. The impact of the revelations hit John like a wave of shock. The betrayal of Mauricio, the man he trusted, was almost unimaginable. John's heart was filled with a mixture of shock, pain, and disappointment at the betrayal of his best friend, someone he considered part of his family. Mauricio's words on the audio echoed in John's mind, reinforcing the magnitude of the betrayal. John felt an immense gratitude in his chest as he looked at Maria, who had risked everything to help him. Their eyes met, and in that moment, a flame of connection seemed to ignite between them. However, Maria quickly returned to her professional demeanor, as if nothing had happened. Still shaken, but grateful for Maria's courage and loyalty, John decided to act immediately. He notified the police of the planned scam, asking them to be on the alert and wait for the right moment to arrest Mauricio in the act. Meanwhile, Maria returned to work, acting discreetly so as not to arouse suspicion. Hours later, the sun was already setting when Mauricio, with a briefcase in his hand, arrived at John's mansion. He asked John to sign some company documents, claiming that they were routine procedures. However, John knew that those papers were the key to Mauricio's coup. His heart beat fast with a mixture of anger and disappointment as he watched Mauricio lie shamelessly, unaware that his betrayal had already been revealed. However, the decisive moment arrived when John decided to expose the whole truth. He stared at Mauricio, disappointment written all over his face, and unmasked his friend who had revealed himself as a wolf in sheep's clothing. John's words echoed through the room, penetrating Mauricio's core, who remained motionless in disbelief. The shock written on Mauricio's face was indescribable, as he had no idea that John was already aware of all his Machiavellian plans. John then revealed his ace up his sleeve. He admitted that he had regained his memory 3 days after the accident, but decided to fake amnesia to test the loyalty of those around him. John's sense of disappointment in Mauricio was palpable, and he made it clear that there was no longer any room for him in his life. While Mauricio was overcome with fury and promised revenge, the police arrived, ready to arrest the traitor in the act. The expression of relief on John's face contrasted with Mauricio's anger, who left the mansion raging, saying that John would still bitterly regret it. The feeling of betrayal and the pain of having been deceived by someone he considered part of his family were overwhelming. Mauricio's betrayal had left deep scars, but at the same time, he found in Maria an unexpected ally and a feeling that went beyond gratitude. The next day, John returned triumphantly to his company, now free from the shadow of falsehood that surrounded him. Determined to clarify everything that had happened and express his gratitude to the person who had been his salvation, John scheduled a meeting with his subordinates. The atmosphere was tense, and everyone was anxious to know the outcome of the plot that had shaken the entire organization. With a firm voice and penetrating gaze, he began his speech, explaining to everyone what had really happened in his life in the last few days and the importance of Maria in this journey. My friends, today we gather to share a truth that until now has remained hidden. A few days ago, I lost my memory in a tragic accident, and many of you witnessed my struggle to recover it. It was a difficult battle, but thanks to a special person, we found the path to the light again. She unmasked the betrayal that lurked between us and gave me the opportunity to recover what was rightfully mine. Because of her competence, loyalty, and integrity, I have decided to entrust Maria with a high-level position in our company. A round of applause for her, please. The looks in the room alternated between surprise and admiration. Maria, previously a simple secretary, had now been promoted to a prominent position, with excellent pay and influence over the direction of the company. The transformation in their lives was impressive, and everyone knew it was the result of their honesty and dedication. John and Maria began to spend more time together, since their jobs required them to be closer. Their after-work get-togethers became more frequent, filled with laughter, deep conversations, and looks that conveyed a mutual understanding beyond words. Every moment they shared was a testament to how perfect they were for each other. Over time, this undeniable connection turned into a serious relationship, and years later, the two were married in a moving ceremony, indissolubly joining their destinies. And so, with the blessing of fate, John and Maria moved forward, building a life full of love and success. Maria, who had previously lived in the shadows of documents, became not only John's wife, but also the owner of the company, thanks to her honesty, loyalty, and courage. On the other hand, Maurice, consumed by greed, was deprived of the wealth and status he so desired.